Good evening from Standing Rock in North Dakota. I'm Tavish Smiley. As you can tell by my gear and the weather elements around me, it's a bit frigid out here, but the fight over this pipeline, this Dakota pipeline, is heating up. Tonight we're going to bring you the sights and sounds from this camp on these sacred grounds here. Good evening from
Watch. I'm near the computer. Sorry, guys. Okay. All right. Double check. Meeting room, Barbara Withers, I know you're my girl who will be able to tell me. Can you hear us? And everybody will be able to see your chat.
Yes, I can hear you.
Fantastic. Awesome. All right. So always a couple minutes of getting out the kinks for our technology. But tonight's Let's Talk About Race program, we're going to have a film screening, and we're going to be watching those films, and then we're going to be coming together for the conversation piece. For our participants at Zoom, on Zoom, I have dropped these links to our film in the chat. We're going to watch those, and then we will be, hello, Claire. We will be having Claire from the Red Bank Public Library, a familiar face to many. She will introduce our speakers, and then we will do our conversation. So we're shaking up the format a little bit tonight, doing our film screening, and you'll be able to talk a little bit more about it. Okay. So I am going to share our content one more time without being linked. Brooklyn, do you mind while I do this if Claire does the introduction?
Sure.
Okay, Claire, do you actually want to introduce everybody now?
Sure. Would you like me to speak on the library's behalf first, or do intros and then do that later?
Either one works. I'll let you take it over.
Okay. Well, I'll just give what I have quickly. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everybody. Maybe this was already said, to the library. I'm Claire Phelps, along with Emily Miller and Patty White. We're going into our 10th year in 2025, and we've covered many, many topics. The library is very active, and for those of you in the Red Bank area, we have programs in the children's department and in the adult department. Some are remote, some are hybrid. Not all of them require registration, as you know. For more information, please go to our website and see our calendar of events. Our program tonight is a wonderful, constructive conversation with film screenings on land and legacy. And it's about respecting and preserving the ancestral land in New Jersey. Our speakers tonight, we're so happy to have them here, are Norris War Turtle Branham, who is a Sandhill Band, Lenape, and Cherokee Council member, tribal historian, documentary filmmaker who serves as the Director of Visual Media and Digital Content for the Federation of Aboriginal Nations of the Americas. We also have Carrie Jones. She's a mother of 6, a member of the New Jersey Sandhill Band of Lenape and Cherokee as well, and family history keeper, and is very adamant about securing her family's history and land. And then we have Brooklyn Demi. He's an educator and a filmmaker who learned in the field with his father and mentor, Jonathan. In 2020, he formed Truth to Power, and that brings people together at the intersection of education, community, and film. A warm welcome to our guests, and we're so glad you're joining us this evening. And I think I'll turn the program over to Patty White at this point.
Hi, everybody, and everybody here and at home. Just a quick reminder for the folks joining from home to remember to mute your devices. You certainly can use the chat box to have any questions or comments for our speakers. And of course, those of us here will also mute our devices. And that's all. I think we're ready to start.
In progress.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Okay.
All right, to my folks at home, I need to slightly adjust the situation that we have in our meeting room in order to play the video. So the link that I dropped in your chat, those are the videos that you are going to watch. I'm gonna watch them up here with the sound. I really apologize, everyone.
Over this pipeline, this Dakota pipeline is heating up. Standing Rock in North Dakota. I'm Tavish Smiley. You can tell by my gear and the weather elements around me. It's a bit frigid out here, but the fight have their say. I'm here tonight with my friend, the Academy Award and Director Jonathan Dimmy. We are the Academy here. Good to have you with us. So Jonathan Dimmy and crew bringing us the sights that out tonight from Standing Rock in North Dakota. Our conversation starts in just a moment.
Hang with the oil industry. So, even though we know that there's a history between the like.
Gloria, my name is Young, sixth generation, Chief City. Where my name came from. Miss Troy Fairbanks, let you hot that talk out, Chief City.
Jonathan Dimmy and crew bringing us the sights and sounds tonight from Standing Rock in North Dakota. Our conversation starts in just a moment.
My name is Troy Fairbanks, let you hot that talk out, Chief City. This is who I am. My name is Jumping Buffalo, sixth generation grandson of Chief City. Where my name came from was a little while to my grandfather. His name is Edward Brown. He gave me Samuel's father's name.
But we your grandfather, your ancestral shade of the flag taking place here now.
The same thing he said over 100 years ago.
When I say that, when you come to that, let's hope we don't.
Never once have we ever shot a rubber bullet at Morgantown or the National Guard. Never once have we ever put mace in their face. Never once have we ever shot a water can in 7 degrees below zero. We get prayers for them too. They're cold. Let's get some blankets to them. Let's keep them warm. They're cold. Let's build a fire for them so they can stay warm. Because this is for their children too.
My name is Catherine Marshall, Manager Cosmic One, Major Respect Con, which means that I am from the shore of Lake Superior, and Lake Superior, Anishinaabe, Ikwe. And we are water warriors. Anishinaabe Ikwe are keeper of the water. That means an Anishinaabe woman. All women and all of our children, the source of life comes through the waters of the womb, and we are beholden to her care. So that's where our teaching starts. It is an inherent teaching. I have never spent a day in my life where we were not under threat on the shore of Lake Superior, protecting our water. And we have also set up a camp very much like this that we occupied for over 4 years until the mining company packed up and went home.
I'm Alan Schreiber from Lincoln, Nebraska, former Army Reserve captain. And I'm up here because I did that to support my relatives. I was up here over Labor Day weekend for the dog tax that was ready for. I'm up here to support my St. John Jews and so well with the relatives as they stood by us as a member of Hold Nebraska. They stood by us when we thought things would excel. And it's a blood relative thing. You know, they stood by my side, I'm standing by their side. Here because of veteran, here business relatives who are standing for seen here basically by the Norton County Sheriff's Department, the North Dakota State Patrol, North Dakota Governor, and the associated officers and agencies is a direct violation of First Amendment constitutional rights. These give them the right to peacefully assemble, which they have done as peacefully assemble. There is no violence in this camp. There's no violence for force. The law enforcement, all they have to do is pray and they're going to prescribe on people need to and express themselves under the First Amendment Constitution. Veterans are here because as myself as an officer, I take over as swore and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign or domestic. Sorry, if you're trying to take the rights away from the fellow citizens, then make sure they're listed enemy of our Constitution.
Water is life. My name is Nolene Bilbrin, my English name. I was given a Dene Young Lives Woman in 2005 by the Dene International Gathering because I am a Tatanutina Dene woman, tribal woman from Canada, Northwest Territories. And I'm here, down here at Standing Rock to support not just the people, but the grandmothers and the grandfathers and the women of Standing Rock and the whole North and South Dakota. Right now, we know that the people are in a crisis, the water is in a crisis, the animals are in a crisis. The Unity staff originated out of Peru, and the flags represent all the countries that it's been to. As you can see, the condor, and Canada is known for its eagle. And this is why the Peruvians, the people, were so excited when it came to Canada this year. The eagle and the condor, when the eagle and the condor meet, that's when our prophecies and our histories will start coming alive. It'll be fulfilled because we will become one. The staff has traveled to 11 countries. This year, it was Canada's turn to take the staff and share the unity stories, the struggles of our peoples, because we have all been taken over by corporations, autonomous governments that do not have a heart. In order to have a heart, you have to have compassion, empathy for another human being, for every living organism, because that was our gift from the Creator. And that's one of our values amongst all tribes is harmony and peace. Thank you to all the elders and veterans that came here. Thank you very much. Tzitzit with my heart, mercy. What we call power over. In the world where we are taught to obey a commander, when we should do it. What we're building here, this peaceful way to know how to and don't ever let anyone know it's really also power others. Don't do it because we're afraid of what will happen. That power continues, and why does it continue? Because it's wandering, and why? We're not afraid of what will happen if we don't. And if it's over, we know that many people have lost their lives in the struggle for justice. It's not a joke, it's not a game. I don't know that. So I tell you to go do something and you get really hurt, it's on me. If I say to you, these are the risks involved, and you decide you're going to take those risks, it's clean and there's nothing they can do to prepare. So what we're learning here is how do we work in responsible and not put anyone in risk and have to jump in that and how you can prepare. And I want to offer one of the lessons we are taught here by the that forgiveness begins within and for yourself. I imagine some of you may also carry with you things from your past. And I want to suggest and offer all of you to say a prayer for yourself. We've been taught you pray for yourself first. And then if you have something to share, you pray for others. We are part individuals as part of a large collective family, and we work together. And if we come in a way that is not prepared, we can do harm. We're trying to do no harm. We're trying to do powerful actions to stop the black snake. And we need each and every one of you. So we need to be spiritually prepared, physically prepared, emotionally prepared, mentally prepared. But we know that it can change. It has already been changing the world. And you are part of that historic change in the world right now.
Ford, MCCORD, and I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. Served in the Marines and the U.S. Army. And I didn't even know that the veterans were gathering here until just this past Tuesday. And I thought, what are you going to do this weekend, Jack? And I said, I'm going to sit around on the couch and watch football and drink some beer. And I thought, this is a much more worthwhile thing to do. There's like one time in your life, you got to do the right thing. We all know what's right. We know what's wrong. I'm up here to support the protectors to find
a peaceful solution, a peaceful resolution to all of this. And I sure hope that you find it. Our future depends on it. Our children's future depends on it. They'll thank you for it in the end.
Hello, I'm Hawk Laughing. I'm a Mohawk from upstate New York originally. I live in Kentucky. I'm here to support rainbow awareness. They're a group that is here to take and support the entire camp. They're training. So that we're not making an impact on the camp, but here the house now knows. This is Gary, one of the leaders of the group. And I'm going to back on that one. Gary takes over.
I'm Jerry or JC, I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. Is this activist been working for Destination Golf Camp? That's my third trip out here. We've been running flies and people for a while back and forth since Labor Day. Right now, what we do is we're making sure that people have safe lodging for the winter, make sure people are safe, make sure that they got wood burning stoves, that they got firewood, that they have propane, anything that's needed, blankets, extreme cold weather sleeping bags, all this is funded through donations. They come from all over the country. We're a peaceful camp. We're prayerful camp. What we built up, I mean, even as yesterday, Portland County Sheriff's Department asked for donations. We took donations to Morgan County Sheriff's Department. We facilitated donating to them. The camp and the movement is entirely based on prayer. We haven't changed in the way that we've been doing our direct action. We continue to do things the same way. Every time we go to the front lines, the Morgan County Sheriff and the National Guard and the governor, they continue to show how they violate human rights. They continue to show how they have little regard for the safety of the water protectors and the safety of the media. There's been a couple of media that have shot roads. There's been media that have been singled out. They've been arrested.
What's happening in Oregon too right now with the access to pesticides on the forest lands, and how that all, where does that all end up? It ends up in our waterways, you know, it ends up in our rivers, it ends up affecting fish, it ends up affecting the humans, you know, the people who are working out in the fields exposed on these chemicals that end up in the land and seep into our aquifers. It's all connected. Water is not only a needed issue, water is human rights issue. It's not just a human rights issue either. It's a life issue. It's life right. You know, we're not the only ones who drink water. We have the critters, the two-legged, the four-legged. We have the mountains we fly in the sky. We got all kinds of life forms that rely on this sacred element, this life on that.
English name is Michael Preston, from the Northern California, on Colorado River. And we're here on behalf of the water. We're all about saving that water and saving all life, and saving the sacredness of all of life. That's what it's all about. Humans, everything.
I'm on the tribal council for the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, and I represent the community of Cannonball, which were today you see where the protests and camps are located today. Our youth in Standing Rock stood up and they got out and started speaking about it. They got out to social media and started talking about it. They went on a numerous amount of runs. Two in particular runs was they went all the way down to the Army Corps of Engineers office in Omaha, Nebraska, ran all the way from Cannonball, North Dakota, all the way to Omaha, also they ran all the way from Kenneball, North Dakota to Washington DC, right in front of the White House, to stand up for what was right, to tell the government that water is important to us. Water is sacred to our people, and we need water to live. It's not about the fossil fuel industry today. That's a fight for another day. Right now, we're just trying to protect and preserve what our native peoples here in Standing Rock have left to preserve for our future generations to come. You know, we're in high poverty. We have high poverty conditions of where we live on reservations. We're stuck on lands that necessarily weren't the best lands, pristine lands, but now today they are because we preserved them for so long and what were given to us. We're showing the world to move forward with peace and prayer, and you can accomplish that without violence.
So, we, had a ride to Standing Rock this afternoon. We had some, stuff to report on the way over, and then we got to Standing Rock this afternoon. And we put a load of firewood, down into the Veterans Village. And, as we were driving out, we saw that there were people starting to form up these lines, forming a chain, holding hands. So it's very beautiful. It's obviously some kind of prayer moment. Continued in the car, heading to another part of the camp. And this line kept increasing, and more segments of line coming together as we passed. And then, while that was going on, at a certain point, you heard someone shouting. At the Corps of Engineers, that's my capitalist permit.
They just spread the news like the Army Corps of Engineers denied the permit, and we're trying to wait for more information before.
Inside, that's just surely the veterans showing up like this has really stuck it to them in a way that they can't ignore anymore, right?
Make the marginalized come together, let's change the world.
Been here since August 4th. There's only 50 people here, and to stand here today and to hear that the Army Corps has denied the big crossing, it's really, really amazing. There's been so many miscommunications, and until like it really happens, I'm really, really excited. But there's just that edge, and like it seems really real, and I'm really, really excited about it. And it's charity well taken.
Kids are celebrating, there's elders up there crying, people are in tears up there. It's really emotional up at the Sacred Fire right now. My brain is always working 10 steps ahead, so I'm thinking like long-term cleanup, what is this gonna take? We've established a lot here. This structure is actually being donated to a family in need. So how do we get them all out? How do we clean up? This is just the beginning of divesting from fossil fuels. Which is the important part. We have a whole city of 8,000 people here living off of solar energy and alternative fuels. We have wind turbines. It's vital to do this and to live this way.
Means Rainbow Woman from the Ho-Chunk Nation from Martha, Wisconsin, and I'm here for the change. Change is coming now.
And our second film. We are here to work.
This is my home. This is where I want to be. This is a sand from the beach. Keep going. We're gonna hit the ramp. That's it. That's how we live.
The very first land patent in North America is called the Monmouth Patent. It was established in 1665. Right here from the Lenape to the European settlers. It was the first legal settlement in North America.
When the Europeans first came here and they were trading land and stuff like that, it was a lot of trading of fur. But what the Indians were saying was, how would you trade for him something that you taught him to go out and get? But he's coming with steel and metal, and that's nothing we can fight against. So you do not trade fur when you're trading with a man who has a gun. You want to trade for the gun. Because then if anything happens, I have a weapon to fight you back. If I'm standing here with a piece of fur or $1 because we traded and you gave me $1 and you got fur, you still have a gun. So what good is $1 if you can use your gun to take it back from us? Okay, these are people that know this is my property, we do not have to move. I want to know who they are and what they're doing. And everybody knows my last name. To come and want to trade it with everyone, but they know this body is on fire.
We need to heal our family wounds so our family can play the role that it's supposed to play in the greater purpose, which is to heal the nation's wounds. And we feel like we're the ones that are still here, we're the ones that still have our boots on the ground, so to speak. We're still here with the ancestors. We talk about genealogy, talk about genetics. But the history is more important, right? Knowing how you came to the places you were at, the relationship that the people you come from had, you know what I mean? That's more important than actually knowing what your genetics are, because I can't tell you the story. Yeah, the genetics can't tell you that someone tore up your graveyard. You know, story you gotta get to it. You gotta learn people's stories. They're wrong, so you probably can't really see. You can't imagine what you're about to walk into.
All those wood chips you see right there, this never looked like this. This place was a forest full of trees, all those wood chips are trees, and this place was nothing but right there. None of this stuff was over here. Look at all these bodies now. Oh, they don't find the frog. The bad thing is those graves right there were already here. These are some of my very cousins. And he put these bodies right next to them, right at their feet. Now, not only did he do this, he got some of these markers that are now gone, but there were even grave markers on the side of this. Just like they are now on the side of this grave over here and on the side of that tree. That grass over there looks like nothing has been moved over there for the last 30 years. So what did he put over there under that marker? It's unbeknownst to me. Then if you turn around, you can see right here how they have kind of like 3 markers together. That's because there are 3 graves or 3 remains in that one hole. That's called stacking, is what he does. Each one of these represents $1,600 for him. But if you see back there, see the old brown tombstones? That's the Dorothy Bowles. She would have been the great granddaughter of Chief Bowles. That was just restoring a cemetery when you have tombs like this, and then you make sure that you have markers for the stuff that you've done. This man uses land as nothing but a milking cow and a landing strip. How do we have this beautifully historical woods that you have destroyed through cutting down property, through yourself vandalizing and misplacing tombstones and markers, erasing the history of our cemetery, but yet you and your shareholders have benefited by doing this? I looked at how many people died in Monmouth County or Pine Brook, Eatontown, Red Bank, Shrewsbury, Tin Falls area over the last 60 years, and I could have filled this place up with bodies if she was doing this as a public cemetery. But nobody was being buried here except for us. That's why this looks like this. Who would say, Brooklyn, would you like for us to bury your great grandmother down here? You would be like, oh no, this don't look like a cemetery. But if this your family and you know you come from them woods, this is where you want to be. Where the strawberries are and the blueberries that you've been out here every day of your life, for every Veterans Day, seeing your uncles and walking down to the train tracks while you're out there drinking your liquor while the ladies are out here having a picnic. No, this is exactly what I want to do. This is exactly where my daughter should have been. None of these other people should be here. But even if it comes down to it in court, I really don't want these people moved. Because the way I see this cemetery, and I'm gonna get all my family members to agree, we're gonna put up mausoleums. We're gonna have a golden arch back there that's coming in that says Ruffin Family Cemetery. And anybody that comes from the Rocks, the Reeves, the Berries, the Bowles that want to be buried out here, this is your home and you're gonna be buried out here. We're gonna take all of these people up and put them in tombstones and mausoleums. But what I want to say to them is, we want this here. And I want it fenced off. So 100 years from now, when my great grandkids are out here, they can say, oh, this is what Nana was fighting for. This is what Cousin Norris was out here fighting for. This ain't about nobody that came here 300 years ago. They fought through and lived through that. It's about the people that are here right now, not wanting us to know where we came from 300 years ago. This is not being done from an early settler colonizer. This is done by a modern day, supposedly American. It's important to learn and understand. If it's a word you don't understand, don't act like you understand it. Google it, look it up, research it. Make sure you're using the right text. Is this a law word? And this is a legal word. How do you use it in legal text? You have to be diligent. But when they were ordered off the property as per the judge, I believe it was May 31st, they came out to take their porta potty and their equipment because I guess they didn't want it left out here. And when they took the porta potty was when we found the note stapled to the tree, which looks like it's in a bad industrial staple, and somebody moved it and you could kind of make it out and says you gotta sell a property. But we never took it down and it's out here, but this is the kind of stuff we do. These are our woods, these are our resting places, these are our arches that when we go to say goodbye to somebody, we do it in a celebratory way. Look at how the sunlight through all of these trees and woods are just beaming right on it. And we're here. And I know we're winning and we're never gonna give up. Because my whole life I'm supposed to be buried at my brother and sister's feet. And I refuse to be buried any place but here. So I'm gonna fight like hell to make this my resting place. So diligence is the word of the day for me.
To introduce Brooklyn and Carrie and Norris.
The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Good evening, and thanks for being here.
So if I could, I'd like to start with a traditional greeting. Kwinginao Longwa, Wallagunta Walking Oak, Onagunta Walk. Nin Shinzi, Ilatakwa. Ninon Giai, Lenape Oak, Shiekvi, Oak, Red Bank. Now, Balotamin Wanda Takwa, Nishi Kishalamokwen, Nishi. So that was a traditional greeting in the Muncie dialect of Lenape language, which would have been the primary language of our Lenape ancestors. We are Afro-Indigenous ancestors. We are not just Afro-Indigenous, but we are also a mixture of the original European settlers that came here, and ancestors that were on the Mayflower. So we exhibit like when we talk about America, right? Our family is embodiment of what America really is. You got people that were coming here for freedom, Europeans. They intermixed with the natives. Those people eventually intermixed with Africans who were brought over here in slavery, indentured servitude. And we're a family that's a product of all that. And though people would like for us to forget certain aspects of our history, we hold on to them very tightly. And what you saw is a film that demonstrates this was our burial grounds, and some of the oldest people buried in this burial ground are Lenape American Indians. The Afro-Indigenous people, right, who have been completely classified as African are actually their descendants. Right? We played a pivotal role in the Underground Railroad. We're responsible for, we helped free a lot of people living in our corn fields, things of that nature. So this is important for us because we have played a pivotal role in Monmouth County. Right? Our Afro-Indigenous ancestors were some of the first, had one of the first quote unquote African newspapers in Red Bank, New Jersey, owned by, first was William Rock, passed on to his son, Arnold. Laid the foundation stones for many of the churches in Monmouth County, from Asbury to Red Bank, Elks, the lodges. You know, we played a pivotal role in the creation of many of these communities. And at this point in time, our names have been lost in history. So part of what you see is these stones, these rocks. I like to say, like, we are the rocks that could not be moved. You know, we are those people that are still here, and we're proud of our history. And you know, this is just a piece of what we've gone through for hundreds of years. You know, this is just a small example of it. So I just wanted to open with that. Thank you very much. What I said was, I opened with greetings to everyone. Said peace and blessings to all my relatives, because we see everyone as relatives. I told you where I'm from, which would be Lenape, which is the traditional name of the area, which would be New Jersey, northern Delaware, Pennsylvania, eastern Pennsylvania, like the 5-borough area, that would be Lenape. New Jersey itself was called Shiek. So we're on the Navesink River. Our language, you call it Shushapa Mooring. So we're, you know, this is a place that is dear to us. We have ancestors who were here for thousands and thousands of years. And we also honor our ancestors that came here in very way, the vast many ways they came. So thank you very much. I just want to let you know exactly who we are. This is cousin Carrie. She's the one that's spearheaded what's going on with our burial grounds. And we just thank her for being a part of our family and having the strength to take this on. And we just want to, we're here to support our cousin.
And for me, what happened was the burial grounds have been in our family since the late 1700s. I'm the family historian for the Lenape Cherokee Indians. first woman in 300 years to sit on tribal council for the Lenape Indians. And in doing all of this, all of the little markers that you saw that had the green writing around it, I call them the hors d'oeuvres. There's a man that's going all over Monmouth County, basically taking over Black and historical cemeteries that he considers to be abandoned, and he's just used them as cash cows. We can't even say that those are bodies. We have to say remains because this man has been involved in a lot of stuff, stolen body parts and whatever. So we don't know what's buried in our property. But what I found out is in 2018, right as COVID started, before we really knew it started, he started burying these bodies on our family cemetery with nobody's permission. And then in 2020, he ended up taking one of my cousins to court who was overseeing the cemetery. 2022, my cousin, I found out, was making an agreement to let this man be on our property and continue doing this. When I found out about it, I was devastated. Of course, I tried to talk some sense into my cousin and tell him that the property's still in our great-grandmother's name. You don't have to do this. We can fight this man, yada, yada, yada. I found out my cousin was going to make a consent agreement giving this man permission to be the president of our cemetery and everybody else that's in his corporation. What I found out, unbeknownst to any of us, 2004, this man had taken over our property and incorporated it as his own. So for 16 years, unbeknownst to us, he was pushing paperwork and acting like it was his property, but he never buried a body. There's no taxes that you pay on the cemetery, so that was never anything that he had to deal with. So when he felt like my mother was gone and all my aunts were gone, he decided to start making his move to take over. Because I then found out that one of my aunts had fought him for about 4 years with the Board of Cemeteries. She was a matron, a correctional officer at Monmouth County Correctional Facility for 30 years. I even found paperwork. That's my cousin Anthony back there. That's his mother. And she said that if this man did not leave her and her family alone, and she came from 10 children, she would take legal action. She even had a lawyer, Lawson. He ended up becoming a judge in Monmouth County. So she did everything she could. And when she died in 2008, right, she thought that the family property was safe and secure. Nobody ever told her this man had incorporated our property, not the Board of Cemeteries, not Tinton Falls, not anybody. So we continued to bury our family there. My sister, Deresha Jones, 11 months older than me, died in 2007. She's buried out there. My brother died in 1990, went to Princeton University with 13 scholarships. He's buried out there. The man, his grandfather, Leroy Rock, is buried out there, right? The man whose grave that we stood by and I showed how the light was shining on him, he was buried there in 1884. That's Peter Rock, our fourth great grandfather, and he owned 1,800 acres of Shrewsbury, Tinton Falls, Red Bank, Monmouth Park, Eatontown, and mostly all of it was taken away. This is part of the property that one of his grandsons ended up buying in 1886. He died in 1927 and left it to my great-grandmother. And from 1927 until now, it's been our property. Everybody in our family's buried there. My brother and sister, I'm supposed to be buried at their feet because we've been there my entire life. Unfortunately, I lost my daughter, May 2022, in the middle of this, when this man had all this paperwork and things in his name. I had to bury my daughter somewhere else because of this man, right? So I took it upon myself to take him to court, to fight him, this agreement my cousin had, and I had a lawyer in the beginning. But the lawyer found out who he was, and I can't say his name or anything, but you can always look it up because he has a defamation lawsuit against me for calling him names and saying what he did was illegal, which we now know he did was illegal because the judge said so. So in the middle of my lawsuit, my lawyer quit on me, and me and my cousin went pro se. So every time they hit me with everything, they gave me summary judgments, they gave me motions to quash. They even wanted to stipulate me where I couldn't get the documents from the document demands I wanted because he didn't trust me to not go around spreading them all over the place. So at that point, I had to take this on. I had to represent myself in court. And this young man here who is the famous Brooklyn Denny. When I went to court representing myself, he got a press release and he filmed it every single day. 8 hours every day for 4 days. And I won. He hasn't been on my property since we started this. He has not been on my property. We got to cease and desist to get him off the property. But I tell you, he did everything. And even in the middle of this, when he knew my lawyer was going to quit, was when he threw the defamation of character lawsuit on me. So defamation, slander, and false light. And all of it was because I said what he did was illegal, what he did was wrong. But the judge even said it was troubling what he did. She didn't understand how he was able to do it. But she did not award me any money for all the trespass, because with all those bodies, that is slander of title, because he sold my property to everybody he put in the grave. So I think it's over 2,000 bodies over there, and he's going to pay for this. But what the judge did was, because there was no clear title, I didn't have a title to put forth, she said I had to get a clear title for the property, right? So everything was dismissed without prejudice. We all know that means that this can start all over again, but we've got 2 trials that said he was wrong. She threw out the consent agreement with my cousin, because I got my cousin on the stand. He went to Biscayne University and Monmouth College. Didn't know what the word affirm meant. Didn't know what the word consent meant. Didn't know what the word contest meant. And the judge said he did not know what he was doing. She threw it all out. So now, being with Brooklyn and my cousin Norris, I met a man who was a title researcher, lawyer. And he just basically gave me $30,000 worth of work for free. We just left his office earlier. I'm gonna get my report. We're going back to court, and he's gonna pay. But before that, my defamation is to come up. And it was all contingent on, if I lied and said he did this and he didn't, then he would have won. But he did, so I won. So like I said in the beginning, enough of him, because he's gone and he's off our property. The sad thing is, I'm not the only person he's done this to. And when we talk about my indigenous family, we have Chief Kreml. He's buried at a cemetery. This man did this too. Mount Holly, Mount Carmel. It's like a lot of cemeteries that my indigenous family, the old family, is on this property, and this man has just been able to do whatever he wants. He's been doing this. If you look him up, you can see that he's been fined $60,000, $600,000 for nude bodies at his cemeteries with hands tied, and they're not even in graves, right? But he gets away with this because for the cemeteries, they're not regulated by the state. There's no laws. They're just rules and regulations. And if anybody ever does anything wrong at a cemetery, the cemetery board fines you, and that's it. So he's been doing this for a long time. He stands on his reputation that he's the best, person that's done this over the last 20 years. And he's been doing this for 20 years, and he's amazing. But if you look up the Star Ledger and the Daily Record and the Daily News from 1992, he's been doing this kind of stuff ever since. I just am fortunately the only one that was able to find out what he actually did and put paper to pen and get something done about it. But without Cousin Norris and Cousin Brooklyn, I always say this, my story was being written, it just wasn't being told. So now hopefully we'll get to the Board of Cemeteries and we'll fix this, and we'll make New Jersey stand on what they say when it comes to the indigenous people, because they say that they've never stolen any land from anybody, right? When it comes to us, but we know that our family was shipped around. We have 900 acres of Reedytown that turned into your Monmouth County dump, right? That's my fourth great grandfather as well. So it's a lot that has been done to the family, and we're not here to make anybody feel bad. We just want to right the wrongs. And even if you go to the archives, because I do a lot of that too, you can look up any one of those books, whether it's World War I, World War II, Civil War, the transportation, the women of Monmouth County. My family is in every one of those books because we were here before Barbizano, Henry Hudson, we were here, we're also part of the Skank family out of Freehold, New Jersey. And they were here with the Dutch. That's where we get the Dutch from, right? So that's all a part of our DNA and our makeup. And all we want to do is be able to have forums like this to tell the story. So at least people can respect and understand what was done here before you got here and the part that our family played in it. Because believe me, the zoning and all of the things that they've done to the property makes it even hard to identify. And we have wills, we have deeds. I have about 12 deeds in my grandmother's name, and none of them is her signatures. None of them really identify what property was taken from her. But this is the last 8.75 acres and we're not letting it go. So anyway, it's back in our hands. We're gonna chug this fight. Hopefully I'll get my daughter removed and she'll be put back over there and you'll be able to come. This is right up the street out in Pine Brook, Tinton Falls and Squapham Road and see our beautiful cemetery. Because you can't see it. It's off in the back and it's off of Ruffin Court. So when you ride down there, you see all the $1 million homes, but if you go up Ruffin Court, there's like 2 brick posts and it says Ruffin Cemetery. You first go past Pine Brook Cemetery, but you gotta go all the way back and it opens right up to Stavola and back of it.
That sign that was in the beginning,
Pine
Pine
Brook.
Brook Cemetery.
Right.
I feel like I've seen that. Where is that sign?
That sign is right at the entrance, but like I said, once you go back there to the houses, you gotta kind of go over the little hump where the posts are that say you're entering Ruffin Cemetery. And then right off to the right is where Pine Brook Cemetery is. Now that used to have a lot of Civil War and World War I and II veterans in it. And some of our family, because the Peter Rock we were looking at, that's actually in the Pine Brook Cemetery right in back of that sign. Then D. Richard P. Reevy, he's also buried there. His wife, Susan Van Sneeden, is also buried there. And I mean, most of our family history is right there in that cemetery. That's the first cemetery, but if you go up the road into the back is where the Ruffin Cemetery was, because it was actually 4 cemeteries on there. There was Macedonia, Shadow Rest, Ruffin, and then Pine Brook.
It's in Tinton Falls.
Right, so they're all in Tinton Falls off of Squapham Road, and if you Google them, it'll say off of Squapham Road, but it's right there. And when you see like all the hors d'oeuvres he put back there, it's just sad, because with all the graves we have there, none of them are sunken in, there's no holes or nothing. He's got them things row after row after row, and you gotta be careful because now they're sinking in, and I have pictures. He put these people on pallets. Some are in wooden boxes, and then there's a coffin right next to it in the same hole. This is what this man does. It's all about making money. Like, I read some of the burial permits. Some of them say these people died on the F train. And then he said, all I wanted was money, which this is my family inheritance, even though we never tried to run it as a cemetery. Then he stacks 2 and 3 remains at a time, and you can't even say bodies because some of them are cremains, and they're all just in there together. And he does this because if I have every board of cemeteries from 2002 to 2024, every meeting they've ever had, and whenever there's a question posed, do you have to bury somebody in a body, in a coffin? It's him who asked the question, and he gets away with it. He tried to say that the people out there, because all the neighbors out there were with me and fighting with me to fight this man. And he said they were mad because of the funeral processions coming in and this and that. And I have filmed, me and my cousin, where there were vans with bodies, and they had one of those dump trucks that have the claw to pick it up, and he was just dropping them in holes. And in court, we questioned him, and he said, no, nobody wanted to be buried out there. Right.
You say this?
Nobody wanted to be buried out there.
And also thing is, the property is within 5 miles of the ocean, so that's wetlands.
Right.
So that's a whole different set of rules
Right.
for what you can inter into the ground.
Right.
So, you know, there's layers of complicit activity going on, and this woman has to navigate this in a manner where the people we have to appeal to on some levels might be complicit.
Right. And if you don't know, they're not gonna help you. If you don't know and have a receipt, and that was the thing, you can ask Brooklyn. Every day I went into court, they kept saying, well, wait a minute, who are you? Like, we know all the lawyers, like, who are you? We've never seen somebody this neat and this organized. And I tell them every day, these are receipts, sweetheart. And I rolled my bag through and off we went, right, Brooklyn? It was amazing because for everything he said, he's just a liar. And it's just sad to me that with all I had to go through, I'm still having to fight this man, but I'm in it for the long haul. I don't care what it takes. He's off the property. He's never gonna go back on my property. I just can't wait until this is over so I can sleep again. So this is what we've been doing.
Can you get any media there to like make this more public?
We had Channel 12 News has been out there, but the Sandhill as a whole, we're blackballed in New Jersey because our tribe isn't recognized because we don't conform to what they say. We're gonna continue to stand on our treaties and fight for our stuff. So we're not one of those people, but our family is in the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, DC. Our family built every one of those big homes you see out in Ocean Grove. Our family has stories written about them in Monmouth University, in Rutgers University, and Montclair. Look up the Richardson Reeves, that's our family. They built everything in Monmouth County, basically, before anybody got here. So there's no denying who we are, and you're not getting rid of us.
But how can you bury people in this day and age in a mass grave? I just don't get that, how that can happen.
Because they're called green burials, right? They even do a thing now where if you want your body to become diamonds, they can put you in the ground with some stuff, and a couple of years from now, they dig you up and get the stuff to your family, and it's some kind of diamonds or crystals. This man is into any and everything, and he can get away with it because there are no laws or regulations. Until you do something wrong, if the Board of Cemetery says it's wrong, they will find you. And then they'll adapt a law or make a rule or whatever, but there's no town, no municipality that's over a cemetery in New Jersey. Nobody but the board. And trust me, there were women that worked on the board that helped pass all of this stuff he wanted because their husbands worked for him. If you look this man up, you can see him in paper after paper after paper. Louis Chicalese, he used to own the boardwalk in Long Branch that burned down after the 4th of July in 1987. This is him and his family.
So when you say your tribe, what tribe are you talking
We
about?
are,
So we are the same, so we are a band of what is called the Delaware, but we are known as the Sandhill Band of Lenape and Cherokee Indians.
So when you, go ahead.
So historically, our families are on record going back to the 1700s, pre-United States.
And I mean, I feel, you're talking about people's ignorance of these tribes. And I think, personally, I feel that awareness starts at educating people. And I think it begins in libraries and schools and educating. I mean, unfortunately, even when I moved to Red Bank, I wasn't even aware of the Lenape tribes because, it's not there. I mean, so the education is very important, being aware of your different tribes. I mean, you've heard of the tribes in Arizona and other places, but not much awareness of the Lenapes.
If I could speak on that. So when the Lenape removed in the 1800s, right, the first reservation in United States history, not colonial history, that would be in Virginia. The first reservation in United States history would be Brotherton in South Jersey.
Yeah.
Now, our families went to that reservation. As the Lenape, by then some of them were already mixed. When the greater tribes removed, the New Jersey Lenape have a slightly different story than the Pennsylvania and all the other groups, right? Ohio Valley, like the ones that signed the big treaty, the Treaty of Fort Pitt, which is the first treaty between any Indian nation and the United States, that took place in Pittsburgh. The think that they were speaking for the Lenape here. History is taught like there was one conglomerate leader of these people, and it's not like that,
No, yeah.
right? So many of the groups stayed behind and intermarried, right? So when the treaties were made and things of that nature were made, these groups weren't necessarily included, right? So at this point now, the groups out west, though they know historically who we are, they kind of shun us having a voice, right? So that is trickulated into New Jersey politics. So you'll have other tribes who migrated into New Jersey after New Jersey was formed, and they are recognized as state tribes. And these are our family, and we're not, disparaging them, but the Ramapo Mountain Indians, as well as the Nanticoke, are tribes that are not from New Jersey, that migrated into New Jersey. So New Jersey has more of a leverage with them in terms of negotiations, right? Whereas the Sandhill are descendants of actual New Jersey Indians that predate the state. And we're so intricate in the fabric weaving this tapestry, they can't write us out. We were at the 1939 World Fair. Chief Crummell was there, placing an honorary war bonnet on Governor Driscoll's head, like pictures of this. So they can't really write us out, but they don't give us the voice that we are deserving of. And we have certain people from our family that play the game to give the appearance that we have a say-so in what's going on, when really the three other tribes would be the Nanticoke, the Ramapo, and the Lenape, who all migrated here during Indian removal. So there's a political game that's being played with our families, right? Which all ties into a lot of this. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say it's scary, but have you ever heard of Samuel Johnson, Mingo Jack Johnson?
Yes.
Okay, that's my fourth great grandfather. That's our fourth great grandfather. So, he was the last man hung in New Jersey, right? These are things and it happened on property that she owns.
That I'm fighting for right now.
That's the next fight. So there's a lot of history that, and I don't want to stir things, we're not here, like cousin said, we're not here, but in order for us to heal as a family, we need this history to be known in order for people to understand what America really is. And I don't mean in a bad way. I mean in the way that people really came together. This information has to be known, and we need.
Yeah, how do you get that known? I mean, how do you spread this?
It starts here. It starts with being embraced by the Red Bank Library, right? Who can validate, because all of our family's records are right here, right? So it starts there.
But I also want to bring out something, my experience, I think this is wonderful what the library is doing. But when I took a walking tour when I first moved here, and there is a book here, but there was no mention of the Lenapes. There was just maybe a word. But my question was, who are the original indigenous group here? But there was nothing of you guys written in this book. It was just about a Jewish family and some of the wealth. So it's interesting, you brought this up because that's very important, because the people coming on this walking tour, children and people from other parts of New Jersey, this is a way to educate them. And there was no pictures of them, no words about them. So it's a very, that's where it begins.
Right, and we have a lot of documents that have pictures that show the children.
Pictures and history and
the beginning.
This is the indigenous groups here, because I wanted to know.
Right, so what we're gonna start doing is,
I think if your contribution.
Right, with Mary Hussey from the archives. And she actually been trying to get me for the last couple of years to do a table so we can display most of this stuff, because that's where I got most of the information. So it'll take platforms like this for us to get started, because
this is good.
They have hidden so much of our history, and it's not embarrassing, but this is another testament to what they've done to the family and the family history. I had no idea I was a Reedy I had no idea that this man was my fourth great grandfather until I dove into this. We are fourth cousins, me and him, and that's my first cousin back there. His mother and my grandmother are sisters, but my grandmother died when my mother was born. So we've always been connected. He's from Red Bank, I'm from Long Branch, and we just met each other last year during this fight. So when I tell you the divide, and then listen, that man Peter Rock, when we were by that grave, owned 1,800 acres and had 10 children. I have found so many deeds where they threw everybody's name on it, heir at law, and that's not possible if you wasn't the person in the will, right? So if you think your grandmother did it, and you think your grandmother did it, we've been divided since the beginning. And we're not gonna talk about the deaths. Mango Jack Johnson, you know he got hung right there on West Street. My grandmother Cynthia Ruffin owned that entire West Street, the entire thing. My aunt left it to us in a will in 1991. Her lawyer wrote the will in 1989, but sold her property in 1986, the whole street. I'm sitting down with Eatontown right now. They don't want to go through what I went through in Tinton Falls, and I have a video to prove it. Because the day they put up that statue for Mango Jack Johnson, I stood there with the paperwork that you're asking for. See these people right here? This is my family. The historians, you're out here for a man that got hung 157 years ago, but you don't know this property was stolen from my grandmother 75 years ago. I have a problem with that. So all this digging flowers and planting you're gonna be doing out here, you're not gonna do that on this property. And I sat down with the city attorney and Miss Danielle Jones from Eatontown, and they were just waiting for me to finish this out there, because I can't be every place at one time. And I got a whole tribe of family members, and it's just me. Yes, ma'am.
So my question is, do you have some sort of, like an organization or an ongoing website or something that anyone here, if they would like to learn more or be helpful in some way, that they can stay
So I have a website, it's called Turtle Gang Edutainment. Let me explain that to you, because I want you to hear the gang put off. The gang is in the sense of our gang.
Sure.
When we look at our gang, the Little Rascals, right, we were displaced kids, you see many adults around, right, but they came together, multi-ethnic, and they came together. So Turtle Gang is in that sense. Edutainment is, what we want to do. We know we need to be able to entertain you as we give you this valuable information. So my website is turtlegang.edutainment.nyc or turtlegang.nyc.
What is it called again?
Turtle Gang, TurtleGang.NYC. That website has many of our short documentaries, our films, things that are personal to us, but it's all based on the information about our family. Brooklyn, what's your
Truth to Power.
Truth to Power?
Yes.
What's the site for that?
Website is under development, but we have an Instagram account, which is truth_2_power, but the O is a 0. And if I may, we're also collecting emails for upcoming opportunities to support Carrie and others in court. So if you'd like to be aware of opportunities to support in person in court, I will receive your email.
So we put our emails there, you can send them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't wanna get no more trouble.
Tonight on the emails, yep, we'll pass it around. And I will make sure to distribute the emails, if you've checked it off, to receive information, I'll make sure to distribute those to Brooklyn as well. I know this is an interesting conversation, so I definitely wanna make sure that you are all connected with Brooklyn, with Norris, and with Carrie, so that we can continue it. But the library, and like I said, it starts here, so I think having a conversation continue to 2025
Right.
is the way to go.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. She had a question.
I live at Seabrook Village, and we're actually researching the land to try to determine its early history and your ancestors. So we would like to continue the conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Do you know can you tell us anything about the land on Essex Road?
No, but I will try to find out, because what I had to try to do was, because the family is so big, I had to just narrow it down to my great grandmother and what she had, because they all had so much stuff. Like, I got deeds and property for everybody. But I had to kind of just narrow it down to that, because that's where my focus was. And hopefully, as time goes on, we'll be able to look out. But if you give me that address, I will start looking it up.
Okay.
I will. I'll start working on it tomorrow.
So can you tell us what kind of relationship do you have with Claire Garland?
So Claire, Ms. Garland she was my 6th grade teacher. I've known Ms. Garland all my life. We've known she's family all our life.
She got a different agenda.
She just has, so when we talk about New Jersey politics, Claire sits right in the middle of New Jersey politics. And let me just say, my cousin, who I love dearly, she sits with tribes who have state recognition, but her tribe doesn't have state recognition. So when they have these votes and she's present, it's more of like a honorary, I got you here to make it look good. But when it comes down to real politics, the Nanticoke, the Ramapo, and the Lenape, and I don't, this is not, I don't want to get into any negative, but this is just what the truth is.
Yeah,
So
very,
this
very
is,
problematic, right?
This is why people don't know as much about us, because Ms. Garland is very proud of her line and speaks about her line and her line only, right? But she's not the only one from these families. Matter of fact, I would say probably 50% of people in Monmouth County of color are related in some way, no doubt. So yeah, we have Black people in our family, we have white people, and we have Indians, but guess what? We're still family.
Right.
And that does not separate family, right? Now, federally recognized Indians have blood quorums. We're not federally recognized. So those aren't our standards. Our standards are you a descending member of these people? And does your heart speak to you in a matter of, we want to represent what's right? Right? Not just African, not just our European, not just our Indian, but what's right. So if you stand on that, you're a part of this. And that's what Turtle Gang is. Turtle Island is what we call North America, right? If you're on Turtle Island, you're a part of Turtle Gang, whether you like it or not, right? So
you're walking in our trails.
You're either part of the problem or part of the solution. And we would like everyone to be a part of the solution. You know what I mean? With open, transparent dialogue. And the things I said about my cousin, I would say it with her standing right here. It's not out of malice. It's just the truth. And we need this information to be shared so everyone can really take pride in the fact that this is the Namaste. The Oyster Point is right up here. That's where our Lenape ancestors gathered all the oyster shells. That's why the Oyster Point Hotel is there.
Wow.
Parker. So when you know what's going on here, it's all around you. You can't get away from the Lenape.
Have you gone to the other libraries or just here?
So I've been out of Red Bank for about 30 years, right? So at this point, our journey as a family was to be able to re-identify and reconnect with our tribe, right? So that's been our journey for the past 15 years. Within the past 10 years, all the work, our family has been reabsorbed back into the tribe. So now we are empowered to do more. So this is a part of the process of us reintroducing ourselves to Red Bank. You know what I mean? And like I said, we grew up here. My mom worked at Riverview Medical Center for 25 years. I grew up in that hospital. You know what I'm saying? Like, this, like, Red Bank, this is my blood. I am, you know what I mean? I feel like I am Red Bank. You know what I'm saying? So we're here now that we have something to offer Red Bank and to really discuss and not just words.
Yeah.
Now we want to create this relationship so we can have this beautiful renaissance of our people, which is inclusive of everybody. because there's probably people in here right now that are family with us. They might not know, right? So that's just how we look at it. We just want to be able to educate people and do what's right for everyone.
And when this is over, Brooklyn's gonna have it all put together. Hopefully, I don't know, film something. But the next time we meet, when we're showing anything, we will have all the information. We can show you where we're from. We can show you our proclamations. We can show you our family members that sit in the Smithsonian Institute. And that's another thing.
Ms. Garland showed us.
Right, and that's another thing. Most of those ancestors, they married wealthy European men from New York, and a lot of them
And I also
left.
like this too, because what it allows is, this gives us all an opportunity to see how something starts grassroots.
Right.
This is what grassroots looks like.
Right.
It's bringing it to the library, it's starting websites, it's building, it's connecting. So I know that this is a lovely conversation, the library will close on us. I can close, you don't. While it is my dream to be trapped in a library overnight, I cannot do that tonight. But starting the conversation means giving us a chance to be able to spread this word. So tomorrow, the videos and this conversation portion of the program will be uploaded to the Red Bank Library's YouTube channel. That will give you an opportunity to post that on your own social media, to spread it to email. And it's just little pieces like that that help start spreading the word, so that Perry and Norris and Brooklyn have a platform and have other people who are part of the solution. I like that.
But I do think-
Yes.
Our cousin Silent Hawk, his family, Rick Kala, he's a Red Bank native. His family, obviously he shares in my family history, we're the same people, but on his grandfather's side, great history going back to the Werewolf 11, if you're familiar with who the Werewolf 11 are. He's a grandson of one of the few survivors of the Werewolf 11. You look that up, that was a black troop that was sent to Germany and he was massacred. Like 2 of them lived. Grandfather was one of them. So like when I say we're part of so many parts of United States history, that is, we could go on for days talking about what we contribute. So I just wanted to definitely answer that. And he's been instrumental in our renaissance and our revival. He spent time with the Canada tribes. He's the one that brought the language back to us. You heard me introduce myself in our traditional language. He's the one responsible for that. He went and sat with the tribes in Canada and in the Rama vote, and brought that language back for our immediate group. So it's a lot we're doing that it's just great to have people here to receive it, so we can share these things with you.
Right, and as tribal members, we got a lot going on. We'll let you know.